Hello everyone, I hope you're having a great day, great afternoon, great night, just a great time in general when you're watching this. So I had one idea for today and then all of a sudden I was watching Smile 2 and I decided I'm going to half explain the movie, half talk about the movie, so like a review commentary, but to just before I get into spoiler territory, my general bare bones review of the movie is going to be, it's way better than the first one. I don't necessarily think you need to see the first one to have a shitload of context. The whole movie pretty much still spells everything out that you need. In general, I just think it's a pretty good movie. It was honestly one of my favorite movies last year in 2024. And two of the songs that are on the soundtrack I pretty much just play on repeat, and that's Blood on White Satin and Death of Me. They are probably my two favorite songs from that movie, and I literally play them so much. But yeah, that's pretty much just my bare bones idea of it. It's way better than the first one. It's a 9 out of 10 for me. I have if you know me, I have a pretty critical view on movies, and to be honest, this movie could have, in some areas, been kind of bad for me, but overall, I thought this movie was great. I loved this movie way more than the first one, and I have more connection to the first one than I have to this one. I don't know. Maybe it's the music, and that kind of just drew me into it. Who knows? But let's get into talking about the movie. I have two counts that I'm going to talk about at the end of the movie because I thought they were really funny. I could be off on one of them, but the other one I absolutely know I'm correct on. But if both counts are right, it's really funny. So the movie starts out with the cop looking exhausted in the camera for what feels like forever. I mean, he is just straight up just staring into the camera, because they really want you to sink in and feel how he's feeling and how exhausted he's been, and to also recognize how long into the sickness he's dealing with. So he's watching this house, we guess casing it, in order to kill these people, in order to pass the curse along, which is something you learn in the first movie, but you can kind of figure it out as it's happening that he wanted to try and pass something, and he passes it, and the way you pass it is by brutal murder. So he goes up to the people that are arriving to the house. It's just a guy. He was bringing coffee back to, I guess, his brother, or yeah, I think they say brother in the movie. And the guy goes, "Did you bring my pumpkin frap?" Brings him inside and does a whole lot of talking before stabbing the dude, like fully identifying that he kind of knows a lot about them. And in my opinion, you're heavily implicating yourself. Even if that dude survives and you pass it, he's gonna kind of guess you're a cop with how much fucking info you know. Or at least he's going to find some way to track you down. Like, mob boss people find people, It's just funny how it feels like he planned the plan, but the plan seems like it's already going to unfold as it's happening, Like, he stabs and kills the dude, but he accidentally ends up passing it to this dude who was coming to buy from them, who ends up passing it to Sky later. This dude he's another dealer, basically, and while he is essentially, the cop is saying sorry to this dude for passing it on to them, backup starts arriving, and he tries to leave, but, backup starts trying to come through the door. He ends up running out, and honestly, I don't know why the fuck or how the fuck Lewis got out of this situation, to be really honest, later, because both of their guys are dead, and this guy is just there. That he ain't dead. That might be the one plot hole in this whole movie, is how the fuck is Lewis still alive after that? And as he's running away, he gets hit by a car, And something that's funny, and you wouldn't see it unless you have subtitles on. Yes, I confirmed this because I turned them off to try and hear it. You do not hear this line that is actually really funny that it took my sister seeing, because we watched it in subtitles, to say to me, because I was doing something else, I'd already seen the movie, so I was doing other things while we were watching it, and she says, the guy says problem solved, which is so funny, and would have been a lot more funny if you actually could hear it. But I was like, wow, what a way to ruin a joke in that you need subtitles to even fucking hear it. And then his blood makes a smile on the road. And again, it took me seeing the movie again to really kind of agree it's a smile. Because to my eyes, it doesn't really look like a smile. And we kind of agree that it's because the eyes are missing that it doesn't really look like a smile to me. But even still, creepy drawings that don't have eyes and are a smile look like a smile. It straight up just kind of looked like the Nike swoop to me. But that could just be me. So the next scene we get introduced to our main character for the rest of the movie, which is Sky Riley. And she delivers this really great, the actress Naomi Scott, delivers this really great apology. I mean, technically, it's both of them delivering this really great apology. It is both Naomi Scott memorizing and saying these lines, but it's also Sky Riley, the character, remembering these lines that probably her team fucking wrote. If not, she totally says on the fly and really kind of saves her career a bit. But the funny thing I noted here, because again, I've seen the movie before, and upon this rewatch, she drastically rips apart everything she says in this apology throughout the rest of this movie, and it's just funny to see it just slowly drift away. And to bring back onto my color theory / favorite color video, you can note in this movie, she starts out in neutral colors, and a lot of her wardrobe is very silvery, neutral colored, gray tones, black, and it just seems like she's trying to be invisible right now. But then you see later in her performances and such, that's supposed to be for this tour, I guess she's supposed to be wearing more colors, as if she's going through different arcs and becoming a different person. Even part of, the ending part has her in a butterfly outfit, and I guess that's supposed to symbolize she's coming out of what she's been doing and is a whole new person. I'm not exactly positive, but that's kind of what it seems to be. And this is when you definitely start to see the Voss sponsorship, which is the first count that starts, and this is the first sponsorship count for Voss. She has a bottle. She doesn't finish it like she does the other ones, but she drinks this one. And we go to her practice after the show. She gets in her car, and then there's a practice, and we see that she has scars, and we're obviously to know that those scars are from her accident. And it's kind of interesting to think that she's very open with her scars, and this is something that you see throughout the movie, is she's very open with them, with everyone that's close to her, including her dancers, her team, everything like that. But she won't show the world and think she's disgusting. But she doesn't think she's disgusting with everyone else. And everyone around her is telling her that she is okay and they all understand her. But she feels so lost, and it's just a very, this movie does more than just be a horror flick about the smile virus. It's also you get to see also into the part of a pop star and all the things that they sometimes, if not already, do go through on a daily basis, not only when trying to recover a career, but also when building one. When she is in practice, she also starts having back pain problems. And as someone who's had to take care of multiple people with chronic back pain and other chronic pain, trust me, when they are in pain, whatever they are saying to you, does not matter. Just pretend they're not even saying it. Even if they are telling you they mean it, even if they look like they mean it, trust me, I've also been in some severe pain before. I've had stuff go away. I still technically have chronic pain, and I have my own slip-ups, so that helps me also understand it. But my pain isn't the same as how bad theirs is, and I understand that when they are as mad as they are, they can and will do anything to not only satiate that pain, but also, like, they're just trying to get rid of the pain. So if that pain feels like it's gonna go away by tearing your head off, they're going to do it. And unfortunately, it may make them feel better for a second, and they may start to use that over and over again. That's kind of what she seems like she doesn't want to do, and she tries to hide her pain by taking stronger medication, but the problem is that stronger medication is what leads her into what undoubtedly now kills her. After her practice, she is trying to ice pack, and you can tell, like I was saying, she's very self-conscious about her scars already, even though she trusts all these people seeing them. She is trying to, get the pain to go down, and she's looking at these Vicodin pills that she's very clearly not supposed to have because they're not in a proper medicine bottle. Yes, that is part of the reason that they show you that, is to show that she's not supposed to have them, she's hiding them, they're supposed to look like something else. And if you know anyone else with chronic pain and or previous substance issues, I'm not telling you to look at their mints or anything, but you should look at their mints. It's probably not that. I've found them many, many times. She is very clearly in a ton of pain though. My theory is that it's psychosomatic though. Chronic pain though is also probably what it really is. The reason I say psychosomatic is because that is a thing with chronic pain as well, as you can be in so much chronic pain for a long time that you just think you're in pain even though you're actually fine. Like, you're not actually feeling pain in the area, but your brain is telling you you are feeling that pain in that area. Because that also happened to someone else I know. They were told for years that their thing wasn't actually happening until they found out that something was misfiring, and then they ended up going to get that seen, and now their pain is gone. That's one of the big problems with chronic pain and substances, is they don't know, in the medical field, they don't know which to deal with more, physical therapy or medical therapy, like giving you medication. They try to balance it with both so that way they can lean you off medication and get you more physical, but sometimes they don't know at which time, because everyone's bodies react differently, and it's just unfortunately case by case. And it doesn't really feel like Sky is really getting a lot of treatment. She's just getting forced into doing a lot of things to try and repair this career of hers. And it doesn't even seem like she wants to do it. It seems like good old mom wants to do it. And you really see that as the story goes along. Like, she does want to do a lot of this, but it really seems like mom wants her to do more of anything. And so she ends up spilling her Vicodin down the drain because her mom ends up knocking on the door and scaring her and trying to get her to go home because she has an early morning the next morning. And while they are on the way back, you can just see, like, she's sweating from how in pain she is, and she's hitting up her dealer, which is Lewis, the guy that unfortunately gets the curse passed on to him. She has to sneak out. So she has to go into her apartment, come back, and she ends up going to this dude's house. He is going bananas. He doesn't remember her, like, sending her text, getting her to come over, doesn't remember any of that shit, holds a fucking samurai sword to her throat. And by the way, if someone ever does that, leave. You don't need those fucking meds. But I know people with pain are going to still do stupid shit, unfortunately. So really, don't be mad at her. People with pain are, like, this is one of those cases where yelling at the screen is probably not the smart idea. They are in too much pain to hear rational thought. I'm telling you right now. It's just unfortunate. And so he is holding a sword to her throat, and genuinely he throws it away, and he's like, I'm gonna calm down and like all this other stuff. He's like, you want ketamine, coke, like any type of shit like that? And she's literally like, nope, I just want Vicodin for my back pain. And you can literally see that she either is fighting to do the drugs, or to fight to not do them. But she just seems so done already, and I think his fear just kind of scared her straight to where she's like, fuck it, I'm not getting anything else, I'm just getting the pills and I'm leaving. And he takes forever to come back, to the point to where she eyes his coke for a second, and she genuinely doesn't even look like she wants to do it. I mean, at all. She like looks at it for a second and just goes, no. And it's kind of timed in a way to where she says no because the TV starts talking about her. And I don't really feel like it. It's just the way her face was when she looked at it. It seemed like she already was done with it and saw how it fucked up her life. Even she still slightly considered it, you know? And then they start talking about her substance abuse issues, and that's when she turns the TV off. But that silence leads her to go and find Lewis. I don't know why it took you so long, genuinely. Like, even though it had a thing to do about you, that dude is so tweaked out, and you turned your back to him. What the fuck, you know? So when she goes looking for him is when he runs out of his bedroom just yelling and screaming, and it's just like, what the fuck, I don't remember you coming in here. And that was a few seconds ago. Now here's the thing, that could be the drugs, or that could be him losing his mind. We find out later that the demon just really fucks with your mind, and he could really just not know what the fuck happened. As he's being possessed, she's like, are you ODing? And kind of as she's saying that is when he stops all tweaking out, and he looks over at her just smiling this crazy ass smile after tweaking out. And you should have run, bitch. Like, I don't know why you're still sitting there. Like, I get freezing, but like, holy shit, run. There is no hell in curiosity. Holy fuck, definitely curiosity killed the cat, because now, because she's stuck there, she gets to watch this dude smash the scariest smile you will probably ever see. I think the closest creepy smile I've seen IRL like this that was close was an Overlord, and that's when the dude gets part of his face blown off, and he looks almost as scary as this. Almost. I say almost. But genuinely, why? Why are you not running? But she gets to watch him smash this shit into his face, and then she backs up, pukes, which, you know, rightly so, everyone would do that, and then dips. And this is when you get to see a really intriguing form of storytelling. The camera flips over, so you get to kind of see that her life has just flipped upside down. You get it? I don't know if anyone caught that when you saw the movie, but like, yeah, her life flips upside down. This is technically the second hair pull that happens. It's when it's starting, but there was a hair pull I didn't mention because I didn't really think I was going to do a hair pull count, but that's definitely going to be the other count at the end. And she fucking, in the interview during that apology, she's like asked about how her life has been in recovery, and there's a scene where she rips her hair out, ironically this exact spot. And I'm just thinking, please girl, please don't rip your hair out anymore. I don't want to see it. But this is when you see her just twirling her hair, and I can just see it starting, and she is traumatized so hard from all this. She doesn't sleep, and it just goes from trauma of being in bed to trauma of being in the makeup chair. And her mom is talking to her and trying to get her to re-talk to her ex-best friend that she called an opportunistic cunt, which is just crazy. Like, I know saying terrible shit to people when you want to like cut them off and stuff like that, but even just the context around that, like, it's just so wild. I understand drugs, like, pushing you to do stupid shit and push people away, and she's being kind of sensitive about it, because, you know, rightly so, you know, that's really none of your mom's business, really, anyways. Why are you trying? It's been a year. Why are you trying to get them back together? Like, I get time has passed, but, like, people sometimes go their separate ways, and that just unfortunately happens, you know? Like, you don't have to push people back together. This guy that they're friends with, an event coordinator or something, gets her to volunteer for an event for troubled youth, which she very much doesn't even seem like she wants to do, because she can also recognize that she is not at a point to be an exact role model for kids. Like, yeah, some things have gotten different. She's kind of turning things around, but she doesn't feel ready to go and do it. And she's being very much forced to go and do it. Oh my gosh, do I really wish I could do photo shoots like her. Like, not even just participating in them, but as you can see, like, I have lights and a nice camera and stuff like that. If I had a bigger space, I mean, we may be setting up an area, ironically, for both my roommate and I, but whenever we set up that space, I would love to do photo shoots like this that she does in this movie, because it just looks so fun and cool, and you get to see the person, like, really express themselves. You get to see different sides of them and what sides they want to show, you know, whenever they're moving in front of the camera. After doing part of her photo shoot, she is doing different outfit changes and practices and stuff, and she is checking to see if her, you know, throw up can appear, which, why would you even do that? What a way to implicate yourself. Like, what a dumb fucking way to implicate yourself. You know, that's when you find that she's trying to text her friend but doesn't end up doing it. And this guy named Morris, and I'm saying his name now because, well, even though we find out it later, this unknown texter named Morris, because that's the only name we get of him. And even though I wanted to mention it whenever we meet him, we never find out if this dude is real. And honestly, I'm not even sure if he is. I know it doesn't make sense for the demon to just, like, drop all of his plans, because that does kind of happen with Morris later. But it doesn't make sense for the demon to go, yeah, here's every way to potentially get around this. Sucks. Like, here's how you can beat me. But I guess it's also fucking with her, like, trying to stress her out and make her feel crazy or whatever. She starts to hallucinate while looking at these texts and sees, like, Lewis behind her. Like, there's a bunch of different good scares throughout this little part. Like, her face gets moved and stuff. She kind of gets over it while she's practicing. It doesn't seem like she's very happy, because she tried to get this outfit that she was wearing during the hallucinations taken out, and her mom really wasn't having it, because it like, again, it's the scar, but she doesn't like it, but her mom is like, fuck it, like, this outfit still looks great. And her mom clearly doesn't give a fuck about what she actually thinks, and it's just so disheartening. And you can see why she may have turned to drugs, because, like, her so-called support system treats her like shit, or at least treats her with just enough care and compassion that she sticks around. She does this photo shoot kind of thing, signing thing, after her practice, where she gets attacked by this creepy dude. He's, like, covered in rashes, and, like, the typical weirdo for a female singer dude. And she is obviously taken aback by that, but not even as much as this girl that comes up next, just smiling her head off through Sky. Just, you never know if it's actually the demon. I mean, it kind of obviously is, but you never know if it's the demon or if this is just an odd child, because that does happen. Like, you don't know if the rash dude was the bad guy or if this little girl was the bad guy. It's just weird. So after the creepy girl thing, she's going home and she's playing with her hair again, and she rips it out because Morris sent her this text knowing that she was there at Lewis's place. She calls her friend after this, just kind of scared, and leaves a voicemail for her. And then she gets a call back from Gemma. But is it Gemma? And she invites Gemma over, and while she's waiting for Gemma, she starts kind of playing on the piano, but you get this look at this artist book is what I'm gonna call it, because this girl has so many talents, from drawing to piano. Like, she can do so much, and it's just such a pretty notebook to even look at. Like, she just had so many cool designs, and it was just intriguing to see. While she's playing the piano though, her vase, because this is the second vase placement, falls on the floor and breaks, and she goes to clean it up, and while she goes to clean it up, she sees a trail of the creepy dude from before's clothes. She doesn't know this until she gets around the corner and sees him buck ass naked, staring down the hall at her. Scary as fuck, by the way. And she's stuck again and doesn't know how to run away, because honestly, how would you know how to run away at this point? Like, what the fuck? What would you even do? Like, genuinely, what would you even do besides run? Because if you run at him, you're running down the hallway at him. You're gonna slip on the same clothes that he definitely should have and doesn't in the movie, because he's not real, he's a hallucination. And you run, she runs towards the door, and that's where Gemma is, right on the other side. And I actually kind of thought that was kind of funny of the demon to run and then all of a sudden be on the other side of the door to continue screwing with her. Because, yep, I'm gonna kind of spoil it already. This Gemma is not real either. Not the one that called her, and not this one. Because this one comes in and talks to her, and she unloads everything on this chick. From the dude smashing the plate to Morris's text, like all this shit. And I'm like, girl, you haven't seen her in a year, and trust me, feelings kind of fade, and no matter how great y'all might have been, I don't know if I'd be taking that super well that you left a suicide and didn't report it, and I haven't heard anything about it. Like, there's a lot going on. I don't know if I'd be sitting there like, fuck yeah, I'm glad you didn't call the cops. Like, that literally is something Gemma says, and it's just like, what the fuck? So after they talk for a bit, they go to bed, and while, you know, she's sleeping, we get to see a little bit of the end part of her accident, where she sees her broken leg, and, you know, of course, her boyfriend at the time fucking dead behind the wheel, which is just her screaming at the camera until she wakes up. And that's where she kind of again unloads onto Gemma all this depressive shit, for fake Gemma to be like, maybe you're just a horrible person, and wakes up again to it being daytime, and Gemma has made, I guess, matcha coffee or cocoa, I don't know, she made something. And the mom appears, she's pissed. The demon just jokingly, I guess, because it's either to continue to fool us that Gemma isn't real or what have you. But I actually thought she was real, by the way, when I first saw this. I didn't think she was fake until it's really revealed that she's fake. Kinda, sorta. I mean, I kind of thought she was fake, but I also was like, this is a little weird for this demon to go this long and this hard in the paint. But, you know, it could happen. And Gemma basically says hi to the mom and shit, but we never see the mom, after yelling at Sky, even acknowledge Gemma or the comment that Gemma makes to the mom. So I guess that's just the demon being cheeky for us and saying something to the camera, I guess. Something I forgot to mention is she also tries to hire Gemma to be like a pseudo assistant kind of thing for her tour coming up, so she can have, like, I guess, a backbone. Not like a backbone, but like someone for her to lean on, you know what I mean? And she's like, we really gotta talk. Like, Gemma's like, yeah, we would have to talk about that, talk terms and stuff like that. And she's like, well, can you start tomorrow? And they just like kind of go back and forth, and you find out that maybe the reason she left is because Sky's kind of possessive of people. And I guess that's because her mom was always possessive of her, so she doesn't really exactly know how to properly be friends with people. Who knows? So we go to this performance where we get to see this really great song, which is Blood on White Satin, which is where you first hear it. And the performance is great, and it looks so cool. She's in this really nice red outfit. There's red backdrops. And all of a sudden she hallucinates breaking her leg, and she feels all the pain, and she starts going off on her castmates, and it just, like, she's getting gaslit and turned against people. And even she runs back to her her dressing room, and her assistant walks out and is giving the smiling face, but apparently that wasn't even real. And it seems she may have gone in, like, possessed already, kind of, and smashed her dressing room herself. And the demon is, like, playing it up and trying to get her to turn against people and turn against everyone. And she actually tries to cancel the event and the tour here, yelling at her mom that she can't really do it, and she's clearly messed up, and stuff is going on, and no one's believing her. And her mom's just not listening, and is like, you have to do this, otherwise you're, like, screwed, basically. And, you know, it doesn't work. So we next get a shot of her world turning upside down yet again, and we get to see just more of her life going out of control. And, you know, it's getting more out of control as she goes to this event, and she ends up smearing her makeup because of this fly that apparently even this other assistant that's standing there can't see, maybe. And she gets a message from Morris again while trying to message Gemma to get back to her because she knows she saw her that day. And Morris sends her more cryptic messages and is like, I know it's you, and is like trying to get a hold of her and trying to help her. And she smeared her makeup, which actually looks kind of cool. It's just kind of grungy. And she gets on stage and the teleprompter breaks, and she gives this giant monologue about how music actually kind of destroyed her. Even though it really did give her whatever she wanted, she just couldn't really get the words out that it was her mom, like, controlling her, that really kept her from doing all these things she really wanted to do, and really stopped her from being what she felt like was successful. And she just went on this whole rant about it being drugs and just really destroying everything around her. After she gets done with this monologue, she ends up hallucinating her dead boyfriend and knocks this woman off the stage, and it sends her and the camera into a spiral, showing that her life is spiraling even more out of control, and people aren't listening to her, and her life is just spinning faster and faster. She gets more messages from Morris showing Lewis with videos with the demon, and she's trying to get a hold of Gemma and nothing's happening, so she forces Morris to meet her right then, right there. We're gonna solve this right now, get this figured out. And Morris pretty much gives her the whole details, from it being a demon or metaphysical thing, and it takes like 4 days to basically really finite itself, and then you're dead, you're fucked, basically. And it spreads through trauma with a smile. The only person who can see it is the one who's been cursed, you know, that whole thing. And genuinely, I can understand why she doesn't want to do his plan, but also at the same time, yeah, you should be starting to consider it, because you're, like, really running shit out of options here, girl. Like, you're really getting into the fuck zone, because it was already 3 days when she's meeting him, and he's been trying to get you sooner. And we're getting to the point, and he even says it, where you're not going to be knowing what is real and isn't real, and it's going to have full control over you. So she runs away and is like, the camera just starts spinning even more. She is losing control, just all this information, and she doesn't know what to do with it. She doesn't know what's real. She doesn't know what's fake. She doesn't know what to do, where to go. She doesn't know who to trust. And the funny thing is, and this is something that happens, and I'm gonna come back to it in a second, she turns on all the fucking lights, like that's gonna change anything, like you're gonna miss anything. You have an apartment. Fuck, it's not even a condo. It is a 1-bedroom. What are you hiding? Where are people hiding? What? Why do you need so many lights? Why can you not see shit? And she starts trying to pack a bag. And unfortunately, while she starts trying to pack a bag, her back pain comes back. And this is where I'm coming back to the psychosomatic thing, because it seems to be when she's really stressed out is when the back pain seems to surge, and that's when she starts looking for her pills. And you know, that back pain rage mode comes out, and she smashes her shower with this mirror. And I really feel for her, because I've seen people do it, and I just feel so bad, because in a few seconds they're gonna be calmed down and they're gonna be like, fuck, I didn't know why I did that was so stupid. And they're even more sad afterwards. And she looks reserved, but you can tell that she is very much like, I can't believe I fucking did that. She falls down to the ground and she picks up her 3 pills because she couldn't get the bottle open. They spilled everywhere. She takes these pills and she takes them without water like a champ. And I don't know how she does it, but you know, like magic, they went down, and like magic, they started working instantly. And she grabs her toothbrush and just walks out and starts trying to pack a bag before her whole choreography group appears in her closet as she turns on the light, all smiling at her. And the funny thing is, because it is funny, they are half scary, half funny looking, and it's unfortunate. Not for the actors, it's just for the kind of vibe, is that some of them look funny with their smiles. It's like, oh, like, your smile kind of like actually brightens my day a little bit. And then other people's smile is like, oh, shit, don't smile in real life, please don't, holy shit. Like, that was the little dichotomy that kept happening, and it was so cool to see. And they're not moving briefly, and then she looks away, and then they're back. And then it happens again as she's running away, and they start chasing her, and it's like, girl, you don't realize how fucked you are. There is that many, you don't realize you're not gonna be able to get away. You're not faster than them. That's basically what ends up happening. She starts running out, run down the hallway, and her group is following her. Her group is following her down the hall, kind of like spidering on the wall. It looks really creepy and really cool. My roommate kind of laughed, but it looks really cool to me. They beat the living shit out of her though. Like, they literally beat her ass. And it's all like these dance moves kind of fight. They rip a chunk out of her hair, and I feel like the real reason they ripped out of a chunk out of her hair is not because of her trauma. It's really to keep her screaming, so that way they could possess her, because otherwise she could have possibly kept her mouth closed. But because it's also a traumatic thing, it made her scream a lot more, and they possess her. And as it was happening, my roommate just kind of had to pseudo ruin the moment by going, "That's kinky," and I just laughed so hard. Well, she said, "That's some kinky shit," and I was like, wow, we're so dirty. And after we see the possession, we actually get to see the whole lead up to her accident, and they're doing drugs, the boyfriend and her, and she kind of instigates it and he furthers it until she is basically driving them off the road. And unfortunately for them, that literally kills him, and she just gets royally fucked up from it. And you know, I can understand that trauma just really sticking with someone for a really long time, and she doesn't feel ready and no one's listening to her, and it's really unfortunate and stupid. She wakes up in a recovery center, and her mom is there, her assistant is there. She's still very wary of her assistant because, you know, she thinks that he destroyed her room, so she's kind of, you know, just upset at him. And he ends up leaving to go do something. I can't remember the thing, even though I just watched it, it doesn't matter. He ends up leaving to go do something, and the mom and daughter get really confrontational with each other, and the mom just calls her selfish, that she sacrificed so much of her life for her. And as someone who's had that yelled at them, that really hit a nerve, because my parents have definitely done that shit to me, and it's like, I never asked you to, and even if I did, you're quite literally my parent, and you quite literally made me. I didn't make me. So if you're going to be yelling at me over some dumb shit like that, like, you gotta come with something that, like, I actually did. I didn't make the way I was. You quite literally did, if we're going there, or whatever you think God or whatever did. and they're going back to it. These two are yelling at each other. The mom goes demon mode and grabs the mirror and starts stabbing the shit out of herself, and she's pulling on the IV that she's attached to, trying to get away. And as she almost gets to the door, she stops, and that's when she sees that she has a bloody shard in her hand. And that's when you kind of think she killed her mom by stabbing the shit out of her. And I'm like, holy fuck. She's like trying to wake herself up, but she ends up trying to cover herself with the sweatshirt her assistant brought her before he left. And she still has like all this blood still not hidden, and she's trying to escape. And of course, he fucking runs into her, and she ends up having to get a guard's gun to even try and run out of this hospital because she feels cornered. And genuinely, girl, you are at a point to where your career, you might as well just shoot yourself, genuinely, because at this point, your career is so fucking over that you don't have anywhere to go, because the only place you're going is prison after this. Like, that's the only place she is going after this. So she runs out and runs into Gemma and ends up trying to, well, not even trying to, she succeeds in stealing her driver van, which is basically her personal chauffeur SUV, with Gemma. Gemma and her are driving along, and that's when we get the craziest ball dropped on us, as that Gemma has not been talking to her the whole fucking time. This has all not been real the whole time. You know, it's actually so wild that they kept that going for so long, because it's a crazy twist when it happens, and you do not expect it. You genuinely think the whole thing is real and the whole thing is happening. And, you know, Skye has this existential realization and takes back control of the driving. But the funny thing is, you can actually kind of tell that it still was Skye driving before this whole thing happened, because you can hear in the background all this terrible ass driving that happens in between her coming back and stuff. So it's actually really interesting when it happens. So she struggles and drives to Morris, finally finds Morris, and they're at this fucking Pizza Hut, and he's trying to do this whole plan to stop her heart and resuscitate her. And to be really honest, I don't understand. Really, this plan isn't really gonna work, because there's dead and then there's medically dead, and there's a bunch of people have pointed that out, and we don't even know if the demon, you know, would count medically dead or if they count dead. And if they count dead, well, of course she's fucked. Like, that's just what's happening. But we basically find out as she's confronting a fake version of herself, because she starts to hallucinate again, that this is not fucking real. And she basically finds out that she's been hallucinating practically the whole fucking time, and wakes up inside not only the outfit she didn't want, but the activity she didn't want to do for her tour. And she is on stage, and right before she gets possessed, she sees that her mom is not only fine but still alive, and tells her to fucking smile. It's literally like, smile. And it's like, ah, holy shit, like, oh my god, girl, like, you are fucked. And she literally is just having this existential breakdown. It is a wild ass movie. And she gets possessed, and she kills herself with a microphone. Like, she shoves that microphone through her head. And the crazy twist ending is, we don't know if she gave it to one person in this random audience or if she gave it to all of them. And if she gave it to all of them, that means the next movie is going to be insane. I mean, still, if it's one random, it's going to be crazy. But if it's a bunch of people, holy shit, this is, we're fucked. But that's it for this movie. I hope you guys enjoyed my little retelling commentary-ish talk about Smile 2. It was a really good movie. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I hope you see it, and I'll catch you in the next video. Peace, guys.